Hi everybody, Jo here. Thanks so much for popping in, and thanks for joining in with our wonderful spring extravaganza. Now we have got some new stamps out, the Dreamatorium Collection, and I have to say, for me, when I got them, I just couldn't stop creating. I'd got so many ideas and they work well with what we've already got. I'm not going to talk for too long because I want to get on. This is the piece I've come up with, and this was the first sample that I made. So this starts with a piece of 5.5 inch by 5.5 multifarious card. Now before I start, what I want to show you is to make this, I used some of the Lavinia masking sheets, and I've made these ahead of the time. So you stamp on the tissue part, you then cut it out, and I actually throw away the plastic part because I don't need that. And I store my masking sheets on the back of the acetate that houses the stamp. But you don't want to see me cutting out. So I've got that cut out already. And that way I just keep my masks with my stamp. And you can use them, reuse them, 5 or 6 times. So if you're going to join along with me, you need to do that ready. So our beautiful ink pot is the first item we want to stamp. Permanent ink, I'm coming in with the Nocturne. So exciting. Honestly, these new stamps, I'm just obsessed with them. Now I'm going to pop this. I just sort of in my head think I'm going to go there. I need room for my cloche to go behind it. So, happy with that. And what I'm going to do is just give that a bit of a blot before I put the mask on, just so I don't smudge it. And as I was saying, I've got a mask for my ink pot look. And again, it's just stored on the acetate. Because not being funny, when you've cut it out and used it once, you might as well use it again. I don't want to waste time cutting out if I don't need. So I'm just going to pop that down. And it's quite narrow here, so I've cut it a little bit wider. So on with the cloche. Right, I'm sticking with my black ink. And I'm just going to put this sort of behind slightly. So, but I need it straight, so I'm going to go there. So again, good press, lift up. There we go, that's lovely. And then we'll put our mask. So just take your time. Just going to put mine sideways just because I feel it's a bit easier to cover. So next, I just want to make it look like these are resting on a table. So mini hill masks. And I'm going to come for the flatter one. So we have 3 in the set, don't we? So there's the flatter one. Just check you can see. And I'm going to come in with some truffle. And I just want to make it look like we've got these on a wooden desk. So again, I'm just inking up and in the lid, and with my brush, I'm just thinking about there. With your masks, try and brush. Did you notice I sort of brushed in the... I don't want to brush against the mask and almost make it rise up. So just going to brush in that way just to keep that... Just make it a little bit darker. And then just to almost make it look like I've got sort of, maybe it's a piece of wood or it's a wooden bench and we've got some of the wood panels. We'll just come in with it a little bit darker there. Yeah, just darken that. There we go. So a little bit more stamping now. So back with my copy paper. Oh, and I'm going to stamp the books. Now we've got so many sets of books in this section, and this is the Book of Lost Words, and there's 3, and this one is Lavinia books. So I'm coming in with this, And I'm going to use my Sand Dune, or Sandra Dune as I typed by mistake. And I'm just gonna, so I'm gonna use a combination. Now look, that just stay down. And I'm just gonna come and make it look like the books are here. And a combination of first and second generation stamping. So we'll pop some books here and then maybe some above there. And I'm just going to stamp this off because I definitely want second generation, just so it looks like they're sort of in the distance. Really, this is just background detail. That feather doesn't want to stay down, does it? It's alive. And then I just want a little bit of extra colour around here. So I'm going to come in with Sahara. Now Sahara is such a lovely light colour. Now again, I'm just coming around just with a large brush. And I just want to take almost the whiteness off the area. So just with my large brush. The Sahara is a lovely colour. Can you see? It sort of vintages it up a bit. But I want a little bit of a glow around. So I'm actually going to come in with a smaller brush now. And just to create more of a glow. Now, I have a new ink pad and an older ink pad. And I've used my older ink pad. And often I do recommend, ladies and gentlemen, if your ink pad, oh, that's better. If your ink pad, obviously they go faint the more you use them. So I keep an older one. And can you see the older one was very pale for doing the background. But this one is quite intense colour. So I can get a deeper look around here. So I'm just going to come in with my newer ink pad where I'll get a more intense colour. And then what's nice, just to fuzzy the edge, I can come in with my older ink pad and a larger brush. Right, so that's the new one, back into the older one. And I just write on the bottom so I know which is my new, which is my older one. And it's just if you want that depth of colour. And then what we want in the background as well is one of the lovely words. And we've got this beautiful apothecary. Now, little tip, I always put a little arrow on the back, just so I know I'm not stamping it upside down. Because me being me, I do have a habit of doing that, you know. And this time I'm going to come in with Golden Meadow. It's just a lovely colour to add. And I'm leaving this, you know, to show you. Let's just pop it down and stamp over it. There we go. Now, I'm not going to use the second generation of that because, look, it would, if I show you on here for our new followers, you would have a bit missing. It would be stronger ink from there and it wouldn't be an even colour because I've gone over the masked bit. So let's come in and do a first generation here. And we'll just catch a little bit of second there. Couple more, don't want to overcook it with this. Just want, so we'll go first generation there. And then we want a nice second generation. Maybe right across the top here. Maybe just a little bit of third. No, I think I'll leave it. I don't want to overdo it. You have to know when to stop with these sorts of things. So again, we'll give that a blot. And we'll just add some nice colour around the edge now. So, piece of kitchen roll. And we'll go back with our truffle. And we just want to add some nice colour around the whole design. So I'm just going to hold it down, look, and come in with the corners. And then along the bottom. And it just gives that lovely vintage feel right up the side. Look, I would always recommend blending in the corners first and then along the side. And I'm just speedily going round, and this is just going to give me a base because I'm going to come in with the darker brown now and really darken those corners. And right along the bottom. So now we've got to the lovely bit where we can take our masks off. And again, 1, 2, and I'll store those. That one wants to stay on me. And let's do some stamping in here. And I'm going to stamp this beautiful wild foliage. And the colours I've chosen, I've gone for a couple of our VersaFine Clair, Avocado and Shady Lane. So we'll come in first and let's just have 1, 2 of this beautiful stamp at the bottom with the darker colour. And then if we come in with the lighter colour, and I've gone to the smaller stamp, just to give me some lighter branches sort of just around. And you can build up such a lovely shape. And then this one we can just put so it looks like it's up here, and we'll have one more there. And I'm hoping that'll be lovely for my fledglings to sit on. These fledglings are absolute, you know, we've got so many when you think of the branches, the leaves, the flowers we've got. Right, so I'm going to put one on here. And again, is a silhouette. Lovely. And then let's get the other one. I need to keep an eye on these because I do think they're going to fly off, you know. So I'm just going to put that other one up here. There we go. And then while I've got my ink, I'm going to put a light bulb. I just wanted something, if I look, the eyes, something hanging in this corner, and these light bulbs, hanging light bulbs, just fit the bill. So let's have a light bulb hanging here. Yeah, so that just looks a nice, and also if I wanted to stamp a sentiment, I could always stamp a sentiment there. So, time to add a little bit of colour, and what I'm going to do is just to take the whiteness off here. I'm just going to come in and add a little bit. I've not put any more ink, just with what was on my brush, but that's why it was important to blot it, and then I didn't smudge. Now, don't worry, as you can see, I've slightly missed the mask there. We can add pencil cream for that, not a problem. I could say I've done it on purpose to show you. Right, colouring pencils. We're going to start with a couple of blues, so that's number 18 and number 17. And just on our lovely quill here, I thought blue would stand out nicely. So again, I'm just leaning, just so I don't get marks on my beautiful paper. There we go. So that's the blue. And then we'll come in with our browns. So the yellow first is number 2. And I'm just going to go over our lovely light bulb here. So these are the Modulars colouring pencils. And then for the wood, I've gone for 3. I've gone for number 5, which is an orange, number 30 and 33, which are browns. And the orange, I'm just going to add a little bit in my light bulb here. And I'm just going to almost put some highlights. I like adding orange. I just think when I'm doing wood, if I make it all brown, because obviously wood isn't necessarily all one shade of brown, so it almost gives me highlights. And we'll come in with the dark in the corners, and it instantly just gives shape. And then we'll come in with the mid colour now and just blend right across. And again, you know me, this is just my cheats way of colouring. If you want to spend ages adding your colour, that's fabulous. Make yourself a nice brew and spend some quality time colouring in. I just have my cheats way of colouring. You know me. get the clear Wink of Stella and let's just blend those colours together. And it'll just give me, and the Wink of Stella will blend the colours, but also it will add that lovely bit of sparkle and does it nice and quickly. Just clean that off. In my light bulb, you need a bit of sparkle on your light bulb, don't you? There we go. Oh, the feather. Thank you. Whoever shouted that, thank you, I heard you telling me that I'd missed colour in my beautiful feather. A couple more little tricks, and all we're going to do is, I've got one of our gold Signo Uniball metallic pens, and we can just add that detail there, and also we can add a little bit on the lamp. Now, when I said to you about the little bit we'd missed, don't worry, because we have our lovely pastel pencils. And as always, I'm going to come in with the white and just give myself a little bit of highlights just down the lamp. And again, just smudge it, and just on our fledgling here, and the same here, just ruffle a few feathers, maybe a couple on the back of the head, a little bit on the lamp. But the main thing is with this, I'm going to come in with the black, and we're going to add some lovely shadowing here, and you'll be amazed the difference this makes. So if you've missed a little bit there, if your mask wasn't perfect, don't worry. This will add the most gorgeous shadowing. And again, it just plants, it just grounds the items. And then this, if we just think of the feather there, so it'd sort of come in that direction. So I'm just using a biodegradable cotton bud just to smudge it, just to save using my finger. And I think that just gives us that lovely bit of grounding. I'm just going to come in with the brown. Don't want to overcook it, but we'll just add a little bit of brown into the mix there. Lovely. And then just for a little bit of shade. So again, when I was saying here, look, we can just use our yellow and just come in. So if there's any little bit you're not sure of, just use your yellow. And round the lamp, if we want to make a bit of a yellow glow, we can use the yellow. If you don't want to use your finger to smudge it, little tip, get your white and just go over with your white pastel and just use that to smudge it. It'll lighten it slightly, but smudge it and give it that lovely glow. Same here, look at that. So, last little finishing tricks, and that's, we want to just add some water for that lovely faux bleaching. So, fan brush, and if you're not sure of, if you've got, so I've got a couple of lines there, and it's just where I must have had water on my mat and it got on my brush, don't worry, because this covers a multitude of sins. Your stamping's permanent, so it won't move, and you can just decide exactly how much you want, where you want it. And while that's working, I'm going to come in with my lovely white pen and just add a couple of extra little highlights, maybe just on the front here, maybe just a little. I like to do the combination of the two, the pastel and then some lovely work with the pen. Again, just to give a couple of lovely highlights. Now, I'm just going to get my heat tool and speed this up a little bit. Normally, I would let it dry naturally because I always think it looks better drying naturally. But I know you want to see the finished design, so we'll speed it up a little bit. And again, dry front and back. I love the fact we get our lovely Lavinia matte look on the back. Now, when you think you could put bookshelves behind, there are so many things you could do. Last little thing here, where I've got just the foliage, it just looks a bit like it's growing from nothing. So for me, just to finish off, I'm just going to add a little bit of green. So this could be a little bit of moss, a little bit of, and it just looks more realistic. And sometimes I don't notice these. You see the difference there? I don't notice these things till the end, and I think, yeah, that needed that. I want to add some white splats. If you don't like your splats, ladies and gentlemen, look away now. So going to shake it, and what I'm going to do is just grab that mask back, put it over there, and just add some white, and I'm flicking for this. But also what you can do, look, is I want to make some almost like coffee ring stains, teacup stains, but in white. So Posca on the lid, and we'll just put one there. It's a lovely trick, this, and if you've got different size Posca pens, you'll have different size lids. It just looks like, as I say, a little bit of a teacup stain. Get rid of that now. But in white. And it just adds a bit more of a, as I say, a bit more of a vintage feel. Little trick. Looks lovely in journals as well. So we'll just have one more there. And then we'll give that a wipe. Lid on. And I need a nice sticker sentiment. And I'm going to go for Create. So as always, I'm just going to pop it on my scissors. And let me see, where do I think? You see, I think it could go down there to follow that diagonal, but I quite like, I've got a space there, so I quite like it just in there. And then if I wanted this for a birthday or retirement card, I could always put another sentiment there, so I'm happy with that. And the very last little thing, some Glossy Accents. Now, your Glossy Accents does take overnight to dry, so just gently, I would always recommend go around the edge of your design first and then fill it in. Gonna leave that to dry. But one thing I did forget to tell you was the grey tint 901 in our Zig pens. I'm just going to add some extra shadowing down this side, and it will just add to the whole effect. We've got the light bulb that side, so I'm going to have extra shadow and extra shading down this side, and when it dries, it'll dry darker. And this is, I always go for a grey or a light blue, just to add that extra shade. As I say, we've got so many possibilities with these. I mean, what are you going to put in your cloche? Could it be some of the herbs? Could it be some flowers? I'm thinking for Christmas, dare I say, Christmas scenes. You could use the little houses, the pixie houses, for a new home card. Are you going to send it to somebody that likes music? You could add the music notes. Like I say, so many things. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. Thanks so much for popping in. As always, I love our time together. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you again soon. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.